Lee Levitt with the Accelerator Group. I've run sales by appointment only. Many of you have been customers of BAO. I ran sales enablement at Oracle, helping with the value selling initiative there. And for global data enablement at Google, I ran business development at Face Forward and Software.com, a couple of companies that went public. I've got a wide variety of experience in helping sales organizations to be successful. And now I'm doing that on an independent basis. I've got three key points to hit today. First, challenges in selling today. By the way, this will not be news to any of you who are in the market. Lots of challenges. I'm going to touch on them very briefly to highlight why the secret formula is so important. And I'll share that secret formula with you. And I'm going to give you a to-do list. My slides are available at acceleratorgroup.com/resources. Let's talk about changes in selling today. Again, things changed a lot. I'm going to bank on Matt Dixon's book, The Jolt Effect, which talked about changes in selling using a lot of data that he and his partner gathered over the pandemic using virtual selling recording. First, why do customers buy? They only buy for three reasons: either to innovate, or to solve an operational problem, or to gain competitive advantage. Some of you who have lost sales to competitors, you also know that sometimes customers buy because their brother-in-law or sister-in-law is the salesperson, and it goes that way. For the most part, these are the three reasons customers buy. And how do customers buy? We would all like to think that inventorying and analyzing all the best options are how customers buy. Nope. Most individuals buy on the basis of their gut, how they feel. And they do subconscious de-risking. They evaluate, again, subconsciously, am I at risk if I make this decision? And what we see is, for the most part, customers are stuck. They're choosing not to make any decisions. We're losing to business as usual a lot. I firmly believe in slides that don't have a lot of words on them, and this slide does. And I apologize for that. And the truth is that these are many of the reasons, but not all of the reasons why customers are stuck and why buying is more challenging than ever. They're drowning in information, right? Sellers used to have the advantage of having all the information. Today, it's just the opposite. And I'm going to touch on that in more detail. Buyers are more worried about messing up than missing out. If you're choosing the wrong option, the buying process is ever more complex. 15 years ago, but we said the buying committee is getting larger and it's more complicated. It's the higher risk of action versus business as usual. Now, if you're a buyer, you know that your current environment stinks. And that's the polite word. It stinks. We're doing things manually. The process doesn't work. The system is broken. It's really slow. But it's our system. We know the workarounds. We know how to do our work, even when we have those challenges. If we make the decision to make a change, one, we have to run two systems in parallel for a while. And two, it's that unknown. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen if we make that decision. So for that reason, for all those reasons, selling is more challenging than ever. When salespeople held the information advantage, it was caveat emptor. Now it's caveat venditor. It's the salesperson has to be aware. When the buyer has more information than you do, stop providing information. It makes sense, right? If you have all the information, you hand it out as needed. We hold back information. This was something I learned at retail 400 years ago. Sure, I can send you a brochure, but let me find out what you need. And yeah, let me make sure I get to the right brochure. Today, the buyer has all the information and sellers have to behave differently. According to Dixon, 56% of opportunities, and these are enterprise opportunities, are lost to indecision. The inability of the customer to determine return on investment, lack of information, and uncertainty of the outcome. What's going to happen? Too much information. Dixon found, and he says through the Jolt Effect, great book, too much information. When a seller provides too much information, the win rates drop by 2/3. So let's stop giving customers information. Did I just say that? I'll get back to that. Customers need fact-based recommendations, not information. They want guidance. They want proactive guidance. And win rates triple when salespeople provide proactive guidance. Here's the situation as I see it. Here's what I strongly recommend that you do. Here are the outcomes, and here's what you need to know about what's going to happen along the way. Now, sellers still have a major challenge. This particular quote came from a coaching client at a 3-letter company. I can't mention the name of the company. It stands for I've been moved. The field rep, Lee, I made over 100 calls last week and I didn't talk to a single person. So I said, stop doing that. There are different ways of engaging with customers and getting them to pay attention to you and getting to a point where you're having good discovery conversations. Now, there was a great session earlier today about how to run discovery sessions, and discovery is not the Spanish Inquisition. That's how we've all run it for the past 30 years. Oh, and so how many petabytes of storage do you have and how many users and what's your growth rate, right? Buyers don't want to sit through that. There's no value in that kind of discovery. Today, guided discovery helps the customer identify what they should be doing, how they should be thinking differently about their business. So I promised a secret formula, and here it is. And I'm going to preface this with the original source of this particular quote comes from a friend of mine, Bob Brennan, who I competed with when he was at American Internet and I was at Process Software. And then he went on to be a director at Computer Associates, then CEO of Iron Mountain. He said, Lee, everyone talks about doing more with less. Let's talk about doing less with less. And I said, Bob, what on earth do you mean? He said, we're lining people up to be unsuccessful. We heap more and more stuff on them, and we're asking them to accomplish it all. And so I'm taking his line and saying, let's ask salespeople to do less with less. Let's ask our organizations to focus on the few key things that are really important and do that really well. So how does that relate to sales? Well, I'm going to ask you this question. What do enterprise customers need? More than anything else, they need guidance. Sometimes they have visibility on how to innovate or how to build competitive advantage. Sometimes they've identified an operational issue that they need to fix. They always need help in identifying the path to moving forward. They don't know how to do this. They've never done this before. The first time they buy an ERP system, the first time they buy a predictive analytics system, the first time they implement a cloud-based data warehouse, the first time they use AI to do sales intelligence research. This is the step into the unknown for them. And we, as vendors, as salespeople, as people that live and breathe this technology and see how other people use that technology, we have the patterns. We see what works. We see what doesn't work. We see where the perils and the pitfalls are. They've never done this before. They need trusted advisors and pattern matchers. A good salesperson is a pattern matcher. What they do is to help customers see around corners. I love this photo. I love this cat's face. The CIO at Praxis Air during a key account planning session asked the same question. He said to my team, help me see around corners. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know 2 years down the road what my business is going to look like. You work with other companies just like mine, similar manufacturing environment, similar size, similar challenges. Help me see around those corners. And further, people buy from people. Institutions don't buy from institutions. The buying committees don't buy from sales teams. People buy from people. If they don't like you, they're not buying you. If they do like you, they're still not buying you. They have to trust you, and they have to take your guidance for them to buy from you. So we have to create an authentic and trusting and listening environment. And by the way, authenticity. I think I'm the only person that has a casual photo in my Pavilion Palooza lineup. That was a photo that was taken in Israel, in Caesarea, in front of an ancient Roman aqueduct. And it has a lot of personal meaning to me. 10 years ago, I put it up on LinkedIn as my formal picture. And a good friend of mine, Mari Ryan, said, no, that's way too informal. And I took it down. And I said, Mari, it's me. I put it back up. And that's the picture I used. And by the way, I've tried AI generated photos. Doesn't work for me. So let's move on. Let's talk about what are we doing to enable that relationship building, that authenticity. It's not about filling the funnel. The funnel doesn't drive sales. The funnel doesn't drive sales. And putting more into the top of the funnel doesn't drive more sales. It just builds more burnout with the salespeople. What we need to do is to support the sales team. And I'm the proponent of the sales team, right? I'm their representative here saying they need help. It's about helping salespeople and other customer-facing people engage with customers throughout their life cycles. And it's a circle. It's not a linear path. Good salespeople go back and back with individuals and customers over and over again. So let's talk about changing the approach. I've been a strong proponent of value selling for a long time. I've done a lot of thought leadership in value selling. Value versus volume. We focus on volume a lot. We put more and more leads into the hopper. And guess what? More and more of those leads fall on the floor. Let's enable the salespeople to bring more value. So Lee, how do we do that? Well, let's talk about that. It's a 3-step process. This is the formula. This is the secret formula. Prepare, engage, refine. Now, first part, preparing. There's a bunch of stuff here. I love this photo. I use it over and over again in different presentations. This works as well for BDRs as it works for key account directors. And the difference is a BDR may invest 10 minutes in doing research, and a key account director may invest 10 days in doing the same research. I've done enablement work with over 1,000 BDRs at Oracle and Google. I've done many, many, many power hours with inside salespeople, and I've worked with field people and key account directors. And this is the work we do. We do the company research. And what we're looking to do is to create a series of hypotheses about what's going on with them. So we need to get smart. We need to be curious. And there's a bunch of places where we can find information. So we create this series of value hypotheses. One, what's the business problem or business opportunity? And by the way, by hypothesis, we mean educated guess. We don't go to the prospect and say, we know what's going on. We share our hypothesis and listen for feedback. And when they say, well, you're not quite right, you haven't got it quite right, and now you're in discovery. So what's the business problem or strategic business problem or business opportunity they have? What's this financial impact? And when I work with outside salespeople, usually their impact is, I don't know, 3x investment or three times ROI. It's like, no, they don't get out of bed for that. And salespeople typically don't think big. I want to hear hundreds of millions of dollars in financial impact. That's what gets C-level people to pay attention. And speaking of C-level people, who are the stakeholders? Let's create a hypothesis around that. And then we validate that hypothesis, those hypotheses in conversations, and we get into discovery. And we have to think about what's the value to the customer in engaging in discovery? What's in it for them? Not for us, but for them. What will they learn from it? And then we do a SWOT analysis, very, very straightforward. Many of you have done lots of SWOT analysis. Again, a BDR isn't going to do this. An inside salesperson isn't going to do this. I do this all day, every day with key account directors, because we need to have that perspective of what's going on in their environment. What's the competition doing? Where are their strengths? Where are their weaknesses? And how can we help them improve their milestone achievements or their OKRs or their KPIs? And we need to develop a relationship map. This is not an influence map, right? This is the stakeholders. It's the who cares. It's not an influence map. It's a relationship map. It's who are the people involved in making the decisions and what's our relation to them. And the people that are above that red line are people that can say yes. And the people that are below that red line can only say no. Let me see if I can zoom in on any one of these boxes. There we go. So it's the name, it's the title, it's their role in the process. It's our relationship strength with them on a scale of 1 to 5. And typically, if we're doing this in Excel, we'll make those boxes red if they're 1, we'll make them green if they're 5. I like to use platforms that do this automatically. There are a variety of them out there. Feel free to ping me afterwards. And the relationship trend. Is it going up or going down? Are we strengthening our relationship or is it weakening? And importantly, what do we do to change that? And then engage. Now, my friend at that 3-letter company, he started sending out, He started sending out mugs, right? That had a logo. That logo's blurred on purpose, but it's a 3-letter logo. And white papers. And here's a picture of someone receiving that white paper and the mug and all that. And that gets people's attention. We have stopped using dimensional direct mail a long time ago. I still use it. It works wonders. And messages that add value. It's not, hi, I'm your field rep. I want to talk to you about your renewal, but here's a thought about how you run your business and how you might do things differently. And listen, right? Salespeople tend to talk more than they listen. They need to listen more and share. What have they learned from other customers? What can we help our prospects do to avoid the pitfalls? What don't they know that they don't know? and then refine. That's the third part. Prepare, engage, and then refine. So let's use those learnings organizationally to improve the preparation process, to define our ideal customer profile and our messaging, to identify need for sales enablement improvements, and provide feedback and inform other parts of the organization so that they can better support the selling motion. Because Peter Drucker said, the purpose of a company is to create customers. To create customers. If we understand the customer better and we acknowledge what's going on in that customer environment, then we have a much better go-to-market strategy, a much stronger go-to-market strategy. So that's my lightning round conversation, that's sharing of the secret formula of 1, do less with less, and 2, prepare, engage, and refine. I do that on a project basis with many organizations. If you would like help, feel free to reach out. I'll share my contact information shortly. First, to-do list, build a value selling culture. And that literally means get the technologists out of the room and talk about how we can add value to our customers. And by value, it means helping them understand how to do their job better. And implement this value hypothesis methodology so that we are helping our salespeople have better conversations. Focus on improving conversion rates. If you do the math, doubling the number of prospects into the top of the funnel can be really expensive, but changing conversion rates at any stage in that funnel can have a huge impact by small amount, by 2% or 3%. That can have a huge impact. And document the customer value attainment. Your salespeople typically walk away from engagements once the contract is signed and before the implementation starts and before the customer hits the trough of despair. Let's keep our salespeople informed, if not engaged, throughout the process so they have better stories to tell with new prospects. And finally, elevate your salespeople and make sure that they are the most important people in the organization. If you'd like to chat about this more, here are some of my digits, sellergroup.com. I have a blog and podcast at thoughtsonselling.com. And if you'd like to pick up the conversation further, I'm at sellergroup.com/meet. Thank you.